Welcome back. Now, South Africa's automotive industry is the biggest player in the local manufacturing sector, formerly employing around 500,000 people. Industry giant Nissan has been in the country for the last 60 years, enough time to gather expertise on the market. On the back of the group's daring Africa 2024 journey, I caught up with Ramy Mohareb, head of communications for Nissan Africa, for more detail on the group's Africa strategy. I kicked off the conversation highlighting the group's emphasis on for Africa by Africa. Let's take a look.
Nissan in Africa has a really very good story to tell. We have a very strong industrial footprint. We've been here for 60 years. We're catering for Africans. And this is why we always call our factories our African LCV hub or our African passenger car hub. And I think that's the key. I mean, in Africa we have a strong culture, strong ways of doing things.
Yeah.
We take the backies, we go on the road, we drive in the most severe terrains. And I think this is what is all about when we say built by Africans here at the Rosslyn Plan for Africans. And as I said, it's an LCV hub, so it's all about exporting these vehicles into Africa.
Yeah.
And of course, after the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, we will have the biggest trading bloc, and we are basically looking forward to capture this growth in the coming period.
Well, let's actually go into the Africa Free Trade, the FCFTA. Sometimes I forget to say the whole thing. Yeah. But talking about the FCFTA, is there enough work being done on that in terms of strengthening infrastructure so that this can actually be a useful tool for expansion into the rest of Africa?
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point, and it also speaks to our Daring Africa 2024, which is basically also another way of doing the Cape to Cairo.
Yeah. And
connecting all these countries together with one road and so on. And I think that is the core of, as you said, of the trade agreement. How do we make trading easier without boundaries? And this is what we thought of is since we have two factories there and we're looking for the trade agreement to come into force, then how are we going to move the Navaras from here to Cairo and maybe other models from Cairo to South Africa going through all these countries?
Yeah. You talk about an expansion plan and adding new destinations. What is informing that strategy? And where exactly are you seeing the biggest opportunities here?
I think the lots of opportunities still in the African countries. So if we want to maybe divide them, we need to grow existing markets. And this is what we've been doing in the last period. And we started launching new products in markets like, for example, Morocco, where we started our electrification journey and we launched the e-power technology. So that's one thing. But also is how to find new markets for export. And we've just signed an agreement a couple of months ago with Algeria, with a new NSC. So basically, we'll be exporting Navaras into Algeria. We did the same with Libya, and I'm happy also to share that we are also exporting Navaras into Cairo soon. So I think that is basically how we see. I'm sure there are lots of other opportunities, but we have a long list of, I would say, opportunities that we take one by one based on the importance, of course.
Yeah. Well, let's actually go into the journey of electrification in Africa. In terms of how you are going to enter that, into different markets, is it a one-size-fits-all, or do you have to take each journey of electrification country by country?
No, I think for Africa, if we talk globally and even globally, I mean, there are some continents and some countries that are ahead of others, and that's the thing. I mean, we don't need to rush into something if we don't think that this is what our customer needs. And I think so. This is why I'm saying is first we need to create this electrification demand. And then, of course, talk about the infrastructure and so on.
Yeah.
And we see, of course, Africa evolving. We see lots of opportunities on electrification, and this is why I would say from November to March, we're talking 3-4 months, we already kicked off electrification in Morocco towards October, November, and in Egypt just last month. And I think the more we start launching this technology specifically on e-power, which is basically, I would say, is the right solution for Africa.
Yeah.
So basically, e-power is a full EV drive without the need to recharge it through an external source. So basically, there is a small gasoline engine, not a small, but a gasoline engine, and basically it recharges the battery, and it moves this electric powertrain. So I think that's the right technology, and one of the key milestones to reach full electrification. So we're of course studying lots of other countries, and in the future we'll share more information about where are we going to electrify.
In terms of your production capacity, I do understand that there is still space. Obviously you talk about this export expansion into the rest of Africa. Do you think at this point that you're fine with production capacity, that you don't need to do anything to be able to match that expansion?
As you said it right. I think expansion is one way.
Yeah.
We are also busy looking for a new replacement model for the NP200. So that is still one of our priorities. So that is also another thing, and we are also introducing in the coming period more variances.
Yeah.
So to also increase geographically, increase our current portfolio, and look also for a replacement model for NP200. So we're looking at different routes to even overachieve what we've been producing.
All right. Well, just to wrap up the conversation, what are the next milestones, targets that you've set for your expansion into the rest of Africa?
So I think the key for us today is opening these new markets and exporting Navara. I think electrification, as you said, was also one of our targets. Having one lineup is also key for us as Africa.
Well, that was Ramy Mohareb, head of communications for Nissan Africa.